Try imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Today's song is Shelter from the Storm by Bob Dylan, released in 1975 on his album Blood on the Tracks. This is one of the greatest Bob Dylan songs, one of the greatest Bob Dylan albums that came out in 1975, recorded in 74 over 2 sessions. He actually recorded a whole session in New York and then went back and recorded all the songs again in Nashville because he wasn't happy with the sound. But he produced a really masterful piece of work. This song itself is just full of amazing lyrics, and Dylan, unlike Leonard Cohen, Dylan tended to write a lot quicker, and despite that he really produced some high quality detailed textured lyrics, but he did tend to be a little bit more vague with things than Leonard Cohen was, so that's the difference in the two writing styles there. However, this is, like I say, a wonderful song, captures a feeling of he was going through in his life at the time, splitting up with his wife, and so many of the songs on the album deal with that, but not in a direct way, doesn't directly implicate anybody in his life. In his songs, he likes to dress them up in stories and bring in all kinds of different elements which have nothing to do with what's going on in his life, but that definitely was the background. On the album after this, he also wrote a song called Sarah to his wife, and that actually does address his wife directly, and apparently was the catalyst to actually bringing his wife back into his life for a period of time before finally they did split up and divorce, sadly. So, amazing song, amazing album. I do encourage you to listen to it. He is really at his best at this phase in his career. Let me know what you think of Blood on the Tracks and Shelter from the Storm. 'Twas in another lifetime, one of toil and blood. Blackness was a virtue, the world was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness, a creature void of form. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. And if I pass this way again, you can rest assured I'll always do my best for her, on that I give my word. In a world of steel-eyed death and men who are fighting to be born. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Not a word was spoke between us, there was little risk involved. Everything up to that point had been left unresolved. Try imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. I was burned out from exhaustion, buried in the hail, poison in the bushes, blown out on the trail, hunted like a crocodile and ravaged in the corn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Suddenly I turned around and she was standing there, silver bracelets on her wrists and flowers in her hair. She walked up to me so gracefully, took my crown of thorns. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now there's a wall between us, something has been lost. I took too much for granted, I got my signals crossed. Just to think that it all began on a long forgotten morn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. The deputy walks on hard nails and the preacher rides a mount, but nothing really matters much, it's doom alone that counts. The one-eyed undertaker, he blows a feudal horn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. I've heard newborn babies wailing like a morning dove, old men with broken teeth, stranded without love. Do I understand your question then? Is it hopeless and forlorn? Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. In a little hilltop village, they gambled for my clothes. I bargained for salvation and they gave me a lethal dose. I offered up my innocence, I got repaid with scorn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. living in a foreign country, and I'm bound to cross the line. Beauty walks a razor's edge, someday I'll make it mine. If I could only turn back the clock to when God and her were born. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm.